Hello and welcome to the Kayden Show, today's best country mix. And joining me right here today is Dusty Leigh Houston. Dusty, how are ya?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much for asking. So, kind of tell everyone a little bit about yourself to get started.
Yeah, I recently moved to Tennessee. I'm an Idaho native. My husband was military for about 16 years, so we've kind of lived everywhere from Virginia to Alaska and everywhere in between. I've been singing since I was a child, um, more on a professional level since about 2010. I was, doing the mom and the wife thing for a while, always singing, but not really, in front of large crowds and stuff. So I signed with Eminent Music Records a couple years ago and kickstarted kind of my more professional career. And my recent move about a year ago to Tennessee has kind of further facilitated that.
Mhm.
And got an upcoming sophomore album coming out sometime this fall and a jam packed tour date schedule. So, yeah, it's been busy.
Oh, it sounds like you've been really busy.
Yeah, it's been a little wild.
So, what do you like most about music?
Oh, I feel like music really is the way to reach people. I have a very eclectic taste of music. And so I like how, every genre kind of touches
Mhm.
somebody in some way. There's not really a limit or a cap on that. And I love what it does for your emotional being. Whether you're sad or whether it's just there's so much music that can be relatable to any circumstance or time period in your life, and I love that.
That's super awesome. And I agree. I think it's something that has an impact in everybody.
It does.
Absolutely. So if you could choose one person to do a duet or a collaboration with, who would you choose and why?
Currently I would love to do a duet with Post Malone. I absolutely love him. He's definitely, I gravitate more
Mhm.
singing wise towards country, and
Mhm.
no matter what I sing, I kind of sound country, but my taste in music is very eclectic, and I just love Post Malone. Um, the one I would say probably the one person that I would love to do a duet with, that's no longer with us, is probably Don Williams or KT Oslin. Those were two of my absolute favorites growing up. So I wish I would have been able to share a stage with either of those two greats.
Definitely, definitely. So, do you have any new singles or any upcoming projects that we can look forward to, Dusty?
I do. I just about 2 weeks ago or so, I just dropped my new single. It's called "Angry Right Now." It was written by a guy named John Kennedy, and I heard it. It was first pitched to me last summer, and I loved it the second I fell in love with it. It's a ballad, and it's kind of a. I tend to gravitate more towards ballads. Um, I have my album coming out sometime, hopefully this fall. I keep adding more songs to it. I think I'm up to about 14. So I think my label's cut me off and told me that's it I got to get it wrapped up. But I've written a bunch on there, and then I've recorded some great songs from some of my favorite independent artists like Ava Page and Corey Lee Barker, Kelly Johnson, Terry Wayne. It's so hard to cut it off for me because I've gotten some
Mhm.
really good songs pitched, and I feel like my album's going to be like 30 songs. So I keep releasing singles just because right now, with everybody going back on tour since COVID,
Mhm.
it's a lot of work to get everything wrapped up. There's a lot of, people, bigger names ahead of me that have the studio wrapped up. So I kind of have to be patient, which I'm not really great at. So singles it is.
Definitely, definitely. I totally understand where you're coming from that.
Yeah.
Definitely. So, what do you like doing outside of music? Do you have any hobbies, interests?
I do. I love to hike and fish and garden. My husband and I are real big into trail running, and
Mhm.
we bought a canoe last summer, and so we've
Mm.
been taking it out on some of the waterways here in our local area. And we love to fish, and there's no shortage of hiking trails here in our area, so we've been hiking a lot and just kind of getting to know this location, venturing out. I love to eat. So there's a lot of that going on. I love food. So yeah, just kind of learning all of the stuff that is Tennessee. It's a lot different than Idaho. So it's been great kind of getting used to this new area.
That's really cool. Where exactly are you in Tennessee?
We're in Chattanooga. So my
I've
label,
heard of that. Yeah.
yeah, our label, I have a label, my label is we have an office in Nashville. And we also have an office in Atlanta. Two big
Okay.
cities. I kind of wanted to be in between. I didn't really want to live in either, a little bit too busy
Hmm.
for me. And Chattanooga basically had everything I was looking for. And so far we love it. So,
That's awesome. That's really cool. So what does a day to day look like for you?
well, it kind of depends. So I have a day job.
Okay.
I work a regular 9 to 5, and then usually Friday, Saturdays, sometimes Thursdays, I'm on the road. Going to different shows, and I've got a couple of out of town shows coming up. I'm going to Missouri. I've got 4 shows in Idaho. I got a couple shows in Nashville coming up. So day to day is, I'm still working that 9 to 5. Working for the man, but the weekends are music full force. So
That's cool. What do you do for a job?
I'm a recruiter. I'm a corporate recruiter. So I headhunt people.
Gotcha. Gotcha. That's cool. Do you like it?
I do. I do. It's kind of fascinating to find people that fit a specific role that we're looking to fill. And so yeah, I do. I get to talk to people and learn kind of their backgrounds. And so it's yeah, I do enjoy it.
That's really, really cool. So do you have any advice for those who might want to start singing but doesn't really know how to jump into the industry?
I feel like things have changed so much, even just in the last, 10, 15 years, even I mean, even in the last 5, really. I mean, there was this set way of doing things back in the day. If you think about like the Loretta Lynn's and the Patsy Clines,
Hmm.
and you had to travel to radio stations and get your stuff heard, and you nobody would speak to if you weren't on a recording label. And I feel like we have all these streaming platforms and YouTube, and it's definitely made it easier for people to put themselves out there, to be an independent artist, whereas a few years ago that wasn't quite as easy. um, I really think my piece of advice would be to stay true to who you are, because there is there are so many people that are willing to sell their souls to the devil just to make it, and you really don't have to do that anymore. It's easier to do what you love when you love what you do than it is to be somebody that you're not and try to keep up with that. So I usually tell people, the music industry is it's a beast. There's so much that goes on that people don't realize. It's not just a they heard me, they saw me, they love me. It doesn't really work like that. So do your homework and dive in and learn all of the ins and the outs, because it's not just, unfortunately, it's not just talent. It's money. It's driven by money. It's driven by exposure. You can be this amazing singer and have these songs, but if you have nowhere to put them, if you don't know how to market them, you don't know how to release them, then they're just paperweights essentially. So I tell people, do your research and understand that this is a long road to the top. It's not easy. So I know all those shows make it look like, oh, an overnight sensation, but it's not. That's not really reality.
Although you wish it could be that easy, but it's
Yeah,
not.
yeah. Me too.
And I agree with you. I don't think people understand the behind the scenes of what goes on in this industry.
Right. It's well, and I don't think, I think the industry's done a good job of keeping it that way, making
Hmm.
people feel like, you need them and you've got to have all this money. And, I think independent artists, there's so many of them like Cody Jinks and, the likes that are really showing people that, if you have the dedication and you have the hard work, then you can go really far. You can do a lot of amazing things, but it's not, you no longer have to be on a label. And
Hmm.
you know
Yeah.
it there's just research. You gotta learn for yourself. There's a lot to grasp. So
Absolutely. Do you have a message to those who might be your fans or anyone listening or watching this?
yeah, I mean, I'm always appreciative of people. I love going out and meeting everybody. And when I go to the shows and people come and they're like, oh, I love this song, or I saw you perform here. I feel it's hard for me um, to grasp that. Like I'm always
Hmm.
very humbled when people come up to me and they've seen some of my shows, or they reach out to me, or they buy my music, because I never take it for granted. And so when I meet people, I'm always just flabbergasted that they're at my show and they paid money to see me, and they download my music and they listen to it. And it's always wild to me to see that kind of stuff. So I'm always appreciative. Those are the things that, when it gets hard, and it gets exhausting, those are the things that make people keep going. Those are the things that make it worth it, in the end, because musicians aren't rich. We don't get rich. It's a lot of hard work and a lot of thanklessness. So
Yes, absolutely. Where can people find you on social media if they want to keep up with what you're doing, Dusty?
yes, Facebook, Instagram. Instagram, I'm the Dusty Leigh, and it's Leigh. Facebook is Dusty Leigh Music. My website has everything on there, which is dustyleigh.com. It has all my show dates. It has all of my performances, upcoming tour schedule. It's got all of my streaming platforms. You can find my music on Apple, on Amazon, Spotify, YouTube, TikTok, everywhere you stream your music and download. You can find me there.
That's absolutely great. And is there anything I forgot to mention that you'd like to mention, Dusty?
I don't think so. Just keep an eye out for my upcoming releases, and my album, The Hell I Won't, will be dropping this fall. And I hope everybody likes it as much as I do.
Yes, I'm super excited to hear it. And again, I would like to thank Dusty for taking the time to come on the Kayden Gordon Show today's Best Country Mix. We appreciate your time so much, Dusty.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.